Hello, everyone. I am Claudiu Murgan, the host of the Spiritual Inspire podcast. Welcome back to the show. Please subscribe, leave a comment, share it with your friends, and you can even make a donation to support the channel. My guest today is Nancy Thames. Nancy, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you. I'm proud to be here.
Now, you are a former Department of Defense employee and a lifelong contactee. So while you were employed by DoD, were you aware of a department that was assigned to um take care and record any ET visits and contactees?
As far as I know, they knew nothing about me, and I didn't give them any information. And what I did was I worked in dentistry, so I got a job and went to Hawaii and worked at Schofield Barracks and worked in dentistry. And I did have a security clearance because I worked with commanders, generals, lieutenants, officers, and basically my job was to help soldiers get ready to be deployed overseas for combat duty. And it had nothing to do with extraterrestrials at all.
Okay, so you don't know if the Department of Defense has such a department.
I know that they do, and I know that in their handbooks, I've seen where it mentions protocols and things like that. But as far as like them having a conversation, they will not really talk about it. And I have a lot of family members that are in the military, high up in the military, and they will not talk about it. There's absolutely, it's like pulling teeth.
Yes, top secret, complete silence. And as I mentioned, you consider yourself a contactee, not an abductee. So should I assume that you have certain implants in your body that took place over the years? And if yes, did they come up during any medical investigation?
If I did, and I never went and had anything investigated, but I have been a lifelong contactee all my life. And I do not consider myself an abductee because I have positive experiences. There was times where I was a little fearful because of for me, it's not what they look like. It is the frequency exchange between human beings are at a low frequency. Extraterrestrials and interdimensionals are at higher frequencies, and the interdimensionals are even higher than just the extraterrestrials. So when you feel that exchange, it is your brain does not know what to do. It's not something that we come in contact with on a day-to-day basis. So it's genetically in our DNA from prehistoric times. Everything around us that our brain does not understand, it sees it as or feels that it is a predator. So you get that fight or flight feeling, run or stick them up type thing. So for me, I figured out because my first conscious memories are around 2 and 3 years old, of when they started, or I remember them coming to get me and have an experience. But I figured out throughout the years that the longer I was conscious, meaning as long as I'm conscious, I'm fully aware, and I come back and have good conscious, solid experience memories. If I begin to feel anxiety or in a lot of fear, they will tap me on the forehead and put me in a functional, but in a like sedated without the sedation state. And in that state, I'm fully functional, but when I would get back, I would have what I would call fragmented memories, not the full. It was like, remember, bits and pieces. And for me, that was very frustrating. And so I learned that I had to work on my fear. I had to work on, I know before they even get here that they're coming. I can feel it in my body, picks up on their frequency, and I know. So I have to mentally prepare myself and say, when I start having that feeling of, a little fear, I have to go, whoa, this feeling, you've done this before, push with it and stay conscious for the full experience.
And did they come at specific intervals, or it was randomly?
Pretty much randomly. And for me, what happens is when they come, I sense their presence, that they're coming. So either I will wake up and start looking around in the room, and then they will appear, or I will keep the covers up tight and pretend like I'm not awake, but they know that I'm awake. And then I would feel like covers come off, and then I would feel a device that didn't touch my body, but it was a scanner. It was a scanning device, and they would run it from my head to my toes to my head, back and forth. And when I was young, and for many years, I didn't understand what was going on. All I knew was what was happening, and I was fully conscious. And after a little bit, my body would start to elevate off the bed. And as I would elevate up, even if I had my eyes closed, I would open my eyes and start looking around. And then I would look down and see that my bed was empty. So, I realized that this was physically happening to me. And when I would look over to see who it was that was holding my hand, and it's always the same three that come for me, and it's three grays. And one is a female, and I am bonded to her, and she's about 4 foot tall. And I don't call her by any name. She talks telepathically to me, and I know that she's been with me since birth, and she's always who comes for me. And when they come for me, and I think when they come for anybody, they always travel in threes. One being whoever the contactee is bonded with, and the other two are there as reinforcements, I suppose. I really don't interact with the other two, and I don't feel the bond that I have with her. So it could be different ones, but she is always, it's always her. So, and I never understood. And when I would ask her, like when I would notice, I'd be holding her hand, and we'd be going up, and we would go through a ceiling, go through a window, go through a door, or anything. And I never understood, how is this happening? We cannot physically do this in our world. What is going on? So later on, they explained to me that when they were coming down and running the device back and forth, they were changing my human frequency to their frequency, which would make me able to do and travel as they do. And I also found out that the grays, that the female gray that I'm bonded with, and the other two are hybrid grays designed by the tall grays and designed by the interdimensionals to do the legwork for them. Interdimensionals and extraterrestrials have a problem with the density here on Earth, so they created these hybrids and tweaked in their DNA and made them capable to come down and deal with the density of Earth. And that's basically all she does with me, is she comes to get me, takes me to craft. When I get on craft, I am there among many, many different races of extraterrestrials and interdimensionals. So I don't see her until it's time to come back home. And then she's always the one that brings me back home.
So in other words, your physical body goes up, not
Yes.
your light body.
My whole body goes up.
And did they mention to you, was the scanning done for medical purposes or other purposes?
When they first come to get me, the scanning is done to change my frequency. If they want me to go to craft, they do scanning to check my health, and they have done a lot of procedures on me. They have worked on my kidneys. They have worked on female parts. When I say that, I had minor cancer at one time, and they eliminated that. So, well, actually 2 times I had kind of a minor female type cancer, and it just disappeared miraculously. But I know that they did it. and I was consciously awake when they were telling me what they were doing. So yes, so both ways. And yeah, I have face-to-face contact. And when I'm either floating up, and now they don't do I don't know what the technology has changed. What I really think it is that they have me vibrating at a higher frequency because they gave me a Kundalini awakening, which they gave to me. And when they did that, we no longer did the device. We don't need the device anymore. They just, I know they're here. I wake up, they get me up, and then we stand there for a few minutes, and I'm sitting there just rubbing her hands, feeling the temperature of her skin, touching her, and it's an incredible bond. It's love. Is the feeling of love is unreal. It is a beautiful thing, and they feel like a dolphin. So, and like I said, she's a reddish brown color. So grays, I have found out there are many, many different races of grays, and they are all different colors, all different heights. And most of them are what I call positive, positive races of grays. There is one rogue league that were the ones that made agreements with government and did what people call as abductions. And they explained all that to me. And I was not part of that program. However, one time when I lived in Australia, I did have a group that tried to get me and took me to a craft, but they immediately, once I got on craft, they immediately, some grays were there, and they immediately recognized my frequency and sent me back and did nothing to me because they should not have ever touched me because I belong to the interdimensionals. So all my life, this has been happening to me, and I never really understood a lot of things. And they would always tell me when I would ask them questions, they would tell me I already know. And I'm like, no, I don't. So I think that's why they gave me the Kundalini awakening, because when that happened, it opened my subconscious up into my human consciousness, because I realized I had a extraterrestrial or interdimensional consciousness and a human consciousness. And they showed me visions when I was in my 20s, and I didn't understand it at the time, of where I had made an agreement to come here and be on Earth and assist humanity with this pivotal moment in time. This is a grand awakening. This is the biggest thing that's ever happened to human beings ever in all of the history of humans. And this is where we're finally reaching higher consciousness, and we're finally at a level to where they can come down and communicate with us, and we know they are not gods. We know they are not angels. They can have a good solid contact with us, and they are not here to rule or to take over or do anything nefarious to us or our planet. They are only here to assist, because this being a pivotal moment and our technology is at the highest peak it's ever been. It's now it's what we do with this technology, what we do with our intelligence. And they've seen many other beings throughout other galaxies and throughout different universes make mistakes and actually lose their planet, lose their lives. So they're here to assist. Yeah.
And if they are here to assist, and we also know there are forces, because we see it everywhere these days, forces who are trying to keep us down, dump us down, destroy the planet, lower the number of inhabitants on Earth. So have you asked them, who are these forces? Who are these entities who are doing all this to us?
Well, there is what I call a lower rim of extraterrestrials. And these extraterrestrials, they are not as great number as the positive extraterrestrials and the interdimensionals, but they work with different facets of government. They work with certain facets of elites, really, really rich people, the cabal, the Illuminati, the black hats, all these secret organizations, secret government, all these players that pick our government leaders and manipulate them and us because they want to keep us dumbed down. And they've done this for a very, very long time. This is nothing new. We are programmed from the minute we are born as human beings. We are given a social security number and we are programmed to work our tails off. And we are using fossil fuels and synthetic drugs and all these different things that we should not be using. There should be no property. There should be free energy. There should be all these different things. And they have been sitting on these things, keeping us dumbed down because they cannot make money off of highly conscious, intelligent, and healthy people. So their goal was to keep us separated. Humanity is we are all one. We are all connected. And when we're all come together in unity and work as one, there is no stopping us. And they've managed to keep us separated. And we hear negativity all the time on our TVs, in our news, everywhere. All that is done intentionally. They put toxins in our air, in our water, in our food. All this is to keep our pineal gland crystallized and to keep us dumbed down because they can manipulate us like little puppets. And they do that with our governments as well. But we are reaching higher consciousness, and all of the positive extraterrestrials and interdimensionals, and even our planet Earth, which is a living conscious being, and all of the plants, water, animals, everything on our planet are living conscious beings. They've all been waiting for humans to wake up and realize not only our connection to our planet and to all creatures on it, but also to the universe, because all the planets are living conscious beings and everything out there. And we are connected with extraterrestrials and interdimensionals. We are all one and we are all connected. And whatever we do will ripple out and affect everything in the universe. So
yes, I agree with you completely that
yes.
This is what happened, and we are awakening even in spite of everything they've done to us.
That's right.
In the last 4 years, when they tried everything in the book to manipulate us and lie to us, and
they're on their last legs and they're still trying, and they won't stop, but that's fine, because that's why people like me have come here, is to help activate humanity, help find other people that incarnate. I didn't tell you this, but I was an interdimensional before I came here. I agreed and incarnated here, and so did my sons, and they have experiences just like I do. And we're here on a mission, and it is to help humanity. It's to help see humans become better human beings, reach higher consciousness, and become the unique, beautiful beings we were intended to be. And for our future generations to live better lives, where we learn how to take our man-made AI technology, it's man-made, keep it man-made, and use it to help all of humanity, not just certain individuals, elites, etc. It has to be for all humanity. So, and I also am a good at it, trying to get people to become more positive. We have to be positive human beings. We have to ignore the negative. If we have negative thoughts, we need to learn to replace it with 2 positive thoughts. We have to decide that we want to live. We need to think better, and we need to live better. And as we could become more aware, it will be easier to do. And as we start to do it, the people around us will want to do it too. It will spread like a virus because it's love generated and it's pure. And it is something, once people start feeling it, they love it. And you start raising your frequency, it feels good and it spreads.
Yes, and people don't understand is by living better with increased level of consciousness, with free technology, with tapping into the prana for food instead of animals and
Exactly.
plants and any other items that make our diet, we can live even longer and healthier without
Yes.
putting pressure on Mother Earth. But we have to reach that level.
Yes. It won't happen overnight, but it's going to happen. I've seen visions of it, and we're just kind of at the beginning of all this, but it is going to grow because everywhere you look, you hear about frequencies, you hear about consciousness. It is on everybody's mind. And when the positive extraterrestrials and interdimensionals realized that humanity was starting to reach this higher frequency, going from 3D world to the fourth, they started coming here in great numbers in huge motherships, and they are surrounding us, putting frequencies of love and unity all around us to help assist us and help us to wake up. And it's working. I can see it. I can see it. I can see people changing, and I can see people becoming more aware. And that's what people ask me. And I know that you know this, but people ask me, when will I know when we're in the fourth dimension? Fourth, higher dimensions are not physical places. It is higher consciousness. And it happens so subtly, you'll think it's always been that way. That's just the way it's always been done. And that's the way it's going to happen. It's just like you look sometimes at the Mother Earth and you see it was done with intentional design and such beauty, and it's flawless. It's just gorgeous. These things they know how to do these things, and it's done the right way, and it's beautiful, and it works.
Yes, I recently discussed with another guest about the fact that there are multiple versions of Earth based on its frequency and dimensions. So some people can phase out of our life just because they will stay in 3D while we are moving into the next phase of our life, and new people will show up there.
Yeah.
And you'll wonder what happened with those guys. But we have the explanation now. And as you said, we have to be filled with love, positiveness, and everything will happen for us.
It will. And people, from what they've told me, we will eventually become like them. We literally we'll learn to outgrow this programming. We'll learn to outgrow. There is no need for wars. There is no need for negativity. We will change. We will realize as we reach higher consciousness that these things always no longer serve us. And another thing is, like, they are billions of years ahead of us in evolution. So there's certain things that there is no technology, so to speak. They are the technology by using their higher consciousness. There is no need, right now, our technology is not within us. It's, we have to make something, but we will reach a point like they do to where we are so up in higher consciousness, and it's just like their craft are living conscious beings. And when their pilot gets in, the pilot's consciousness meets up with the craft, and he or she thinks where they want to go, and bam, they go. So it's a beautiful time to be alive. It's beautiful. And we have lots of things to look forward to. And we just have to start thinking in a better way and living in better ways, and be a little patience, and it will happen.
Yes, eliminate the thinking of scarcity and lack, and the fact that we have to compete with our neighbor or someone else at work. In fact, we have to cooperate, because this is how we are going to advance.
Yes, learn to share. And people eventually will have jobs that they love, not jobs, 2 or 3 jobs, just struggling to live from paycheck to paycheck. Those days need to stop. We need to be able to enjoy our experience as human beings, not work our butt off. And by the time we get to our retirement age, we're unhealthy and we don't get to enjoy it. And there's so many women that work for other people taking care of their children, they miss out on their children's life. These things need to change. And we have forgotten our connection with our planet. We have forgotten certain things that back in the old days, a lot of indigenous people and a lot of cultures even still incorporate their connections with the planet and with Mother Earth. But everything that when we were all created, everything we ever needed was put here on Earth. So either the powers that are over us right now either are sitting on all this technology and knowledge, or maybe there's some things we haven't found, but there's cures for everything. And there's nothing we should be needful of or have to pay for, because it was put here to work. Everything, even the plants, everything was here for us all to connect and work together and live together peacefully.
I agree that there is a, a healing methodology for every single disease we have, and it's mainly all of them are created by stress, by imbalances in our life, and everything can be eradicated.
Negativity.
I mean, exactly. And they keep saying cancer research. To me, that's just a joke, because if you clean up the food you eat, the water you drink, clean the air,
and your mentality,
exactly,
start thinking positive things,
yeah.
You know, create the world you want around you, be the person that you want to be, and create that reality around you.
Yes,
be
but
positive.
A lot of people are feeding, doctors and research centers are feeding off this cancer research, in my opinion, hoax. And I talked to an oncologist from the USA who left her job, $500,000 job, because she realized that she can help more cancer patients from outside the system than from the inside.
It would be, for me, that would be a hard job, to know that you can do certain things, but you have limitations. You know, you go to the hospital, there's some things they won't pay for. You know, you don't get to make your own decisions, and these things need to change. They really do, because that's not human.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nancy, you mentioned they help you with the Kundalini awakening.
Yes.
And when people go through this process, usually they start meeting their higher self, their spiritual guides, angels. Have you encountered anything like this?
I was already seeing my family. I know that every time I go on craft, I have a group of peers watching me, and it's my family. My family, they live much longer lives than human beings. So I know that I have family there waiting on me. And I know that when I leave Earth, I'm going straight back to them. You know, I know where I'm going. And when I had the Kundalini awakening, I already knew these things, but I would always question. But now I know, and I don't question it as much. I'm at peace. I know who I am. So that's the main thing. And I ask my subconscious mind to give my human mind all the information that it knows, because I am ready. I want to know everything. And I know that for a long time, my human consciousness was blocking, because of the fear of how it would affect me mentally, emotionally, and my human presence. With, you know, I'm a grandmother, I'm a mother. So I have to keep a balance, keep good balances on my extraterrestrial, interdimensional life and my human life. Both are just as important. And that's something, every time they come, they check on me for all these things. And they used to tell me when I was growing up and I didn't know all these things, and I was struggling and not understanding why it was happening to me, and etc. You know, they always tell me, if it gets to be too much for you, you can always come home. But it didn't resonate with me. This was my home. It did not make sense. Now I understand what they were saying. And I just, you know, but it took me a while. It didn't happen overnight. It took me a while to understand all this and piece it all together. And now I'm happier than I've ever been in my life. And I know who Nancy is, not the Nancy that was programmed by the world around me the real Nancy, and I know what my sole purpose is, and I'm at peace with, I know when I leave here, I'm at peace with that. I'm not scared to die anymore. Used to be, but I understand now it's not the end. That's just, this is an experience that I'm having here. I'm having a human experience. And when I leave here, I will be going on to another experience, and my soul will be living on somewhere else.
Yeah, you are so right that there is never too late to understand and understand who we are, and not necessarily
And that's
this
why it's
human body.
important.
Yeah.
That's why it's important that these truths come out so that we can enjoy our human experience. Right now, it is a literal struggle for a lot of people, and it does not have to be this way, and it shouldn't be this way. We should be enjoying being youthful, middle-aged, senior citizens, all these things we should be enjoying, and these things will change. They will change, and people will enjoy the human experience.
Yes, and at the same time, put yourself, and I have to put myself in the shoes of someone who doesn't realize what's going on around himself, and suddenly the government structure is falling apart, the medical structure is falling apart, financial structure is going nowhere,
Exactly.
and he's left in the dark with no direction, cold and hungry, and that person will be really, really scared, and
Yeah.
he or she for sure will identify with their own body and say, I'm going to die.
Yes, it's sad. And, that's why it's important that's why I'm here. I'm here to help and assist. I want people to understand that we can be better human beings, and it will not happen overnight, but it's just a matter of mentally thinking ourselves as a better human being, putting positive thoughts in our mind, changing our diets as much as we can, making these changes. It does, like I said, not overnight, but start moving in that direction, and setting it up so that our grandchildren and our children will follow suit, set good examples and stuff. So I think it's just, I truly think all of us made a decision to be here at this time. This is momentous. We are all the disclosure, every single one of us. We do not need the governments to tell us anything. When we reach this higher consciousness and realize that there's things going on all around us, there's life and things going on because of our 3D vision, we simply don't see it. That doesn't mean it's not going on. So when we become aware of all this more and more, it will enlighten us, and we'll realize who we are, our true heritage, who we are. And how could that has got to be the most beautiful thing for every human being alive, to know who they are, where they come from, and that they are special, and that we don't have to live in old programming. We have the world ahead of us to make it different and better. And I think we will be the generation that will go down in history. We are the stepping stones to make things better for human beings.
Yes, and indeed, it was confirmed to me recently that I did volunteer to come here on Earth at this time and do this job, and potentially more than this in the very near future.
Yes.
So yeah.
We are the disclosure. We don't need the governments. We know, so we just have to wake others up, and they need to look within, and they will remember too at some point.
Yes, and I think the only reason we need the governments is for building roads, bridges, septic tanks, water systems, and that's it. Not interfere in our lives and tell us how we should live our lives, what to eat, and what to put into our bodies through needles and things like this. No, they should stay away.
Well, a lot of things in the past, it served a purpose in the past, but we are changing. Our world is changing. Our planet is changing. It's going through an ascension itself. We have to change with our planet and with the things around us. Everything is changing. And change is not a bad thing always. Change is a good thing. We just have to lose the fear that we've been programmed to have. We've been programmed to fear change, programmed to fear intelligence or to be a little bit telepathic or whatever, if they used to burn people at the stake for things. Once we release and realize all this programming needs to go away, our eyes will open and we'll understand the world around us better, I think.
Yes, completely in agreement with you. Nancy, you mentioned your grandchildren several times.
Yeah.
Do you talk to them about their potentially imaginary friends, and what do they tell you?
I don't call them imaginary friends. I tell them exactly that they know that I have face-to-face contact with interdimensionals and extraterrestrials, and they draw pictures of craft, and they tell me stories about their dreams and things like that. And my son and I have they instigated us a trip to go to Mexico. They wanted he and I to meet an indigenous tribe that lived on this mountain. They were called the people of the clouds, the Zapotec, and they wanted us to meet with them. They wanted my son to go on a day trip with them and spend the day out going through the forest. And they were foraging for foods and things like that. They're the most eco-friendly people I've ever seen in my life. And their tribe goes back as far as the Mayans and the Incas, and they were on the verge of ascension. And basically what happened was it kind of fell through because of their whole younger generation left their tribe and went to bigger cities because they were attracted to technology and attracted to materialistic things. So here they are, this beautiful eco-friendly people living off the land and using just little bit of electricity. A lot of places, a lot of the homes don't have it at all. Some of them did, but they did not have appliances and all these different things. They simply had light. But they did all their cooking and cleaning and washing and all these things outside. And they lived way up in the mountains. It took us 3 hours to drive up to the mountains. It was San Jose de Pacifico. Yes, I think that's what you call it. And it was in the state of Oaxaca, which is the southernmost state of Mexico on the Pacific side. So, and we were there for 7 days. And for the first 5 days, they were without power and electricity. But life goes on. It doesn't matter what happens. These people adapt. They go on. They could cook. And if they have a little cafe restaurant, they continue to run their business. Well, things don't stop just because there's a little bad weather and things. They adapt. So it was a beautiful thing. But they wanted us to understand that technology is a man-made tool. Like I said earlier, it's a man-made tool. So we have intelligence, keep our intelligence. Man stays in control of it. Don't turn it loose with certain people to abuse it. Don't let it just run wild and put it in charge of things. It's a man-made tool. Keep it as a man-made tool. And then the other thing that what they wanted me to see when they came for me, and we walked outside the cabin and they stuck their hands out. And this is when they said to me, everything is alive. Everything is alive. Everything is connected and everything is one. And they were showing me visions of trees talking to each other. And the tree was laughing at humans. And I asked the interdimensional, why is he laughing? He said, because humans run around cutting them down and they provide the air you breathe to live on. And, so it was just a awakening for me to understand that they communicate. And they've basically just been waiting for human beings to wake up and realize that everything around us is alive and that we're all one and we're all connected, and learn to balance out our nature, balance out everything. And when we're good to it, it will be good to us, So it was just beautiful.
And if you can share, have they performed any ceremony while you were there?
The Zapotec, they did some ceremonies and stuff. They do a lot of the mushrooms. Interdimensionals did not want me to do that. They said that I do not need it. I have a direct line with them, and people use the mushrooms to open up aspects of their brain to reach higher dimensions, but I don't need that. And so, and they told my son the same thing. Neither one of us need it, because we communicate and have face to face with them. But they had like sweat tent or sweat lodge.
Sweat lodge, yeah.
Yes, sweat lodges, and the Zappeltech would go in there, and they would eat the mushrooms and then make some kind of sweat lodge thing in there. But no, I didn't participate because they told me no, they did not want me to. They said I didn't need that.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Nancy, there is word on the street that the next false flag done by the government will be with spaceships or airplanes cloth into holograms of alien spaceships, and they will start killing people just to tell us that the aliens are bad ones and the government have to come step in and save us. Now the holographic technology is so advanced that it's very hard to tell the difference between reality and holograms. What's your take on this?
I know something like that could happen. I do know that. And I know that if it does, the interdimensionals and positive extraterrestrials will probably step in and set the story straight, because they're very aware of what all's going on, and they're very aware of the war that we're having here on Earth. And all that is done as a distraction and to instill fear and things like that. But I do know they love our planet. They love us, see us as children, but they love our planet. They love all the animals, all the jungles, all the oceans, all the aquatic life, everything. They love everything. And when we start playing with weapons of mass destruction, it not only could wipe us out, but it could destroy our planet, destroy all of nature, and ripple out into the universe. And they're not going to let that happen. If anything were to happen as far as something like that, it would be minor. And that would only be if humanity is to the point to where they need a wake-up call. And I hope that that's not going to happen. And I don't think it will, because from what I see and what I pay attention to, people are realizing things around us are changing. And I think even though they might not know it, but they are waking up. I think they are.
So in other words, we don't have to worry about World War III.
I don't
what
think
you're
so.
saying. Perfect.
Yes.
That's great news.
That's what I've been told. Yes.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, they cannot come down here and fix everything for us, because humans are here on free will. So it's like they can work on me because I'm direct lineage from them, and my soul contract is with them. Okay. But everybody that comes here to Earth has some type of soul contract, some agreements or some experiences they want to do. So some people might be sick, but they may have chosen to be sick. So they cannot come down here and overstep that boundary of us being here on free will. That's part of the cosmic law of coming to have the human experience. And unfortunately, why we don't remember our past is because of this cosmic law. It's not because of their decision, but whenever we were created, we're here to have experiences, and we can't learn things if we come in here already knowing things.
Yes.
So, but I think future generations will start remembering their past. I think that that's gonna change and not really be what's happening anymore at some point. I think my grandchildren will probably start remembering more about things in their past.
Nancy, we talk about the ETs, hovering above Earth in their spaceships. But I know that there are ETs, they have bases within the Earth, underground. Are you privy to where these bases are primarily?
I know that there's some underwater. I have been in USOs. I have traveled underwater. I know that they have bases around the world, like in in mountains and stuff. I know that they try to keep kind of in isolated areas. And I know also that some of them, the humanoid looking ones, mingle in with us sometimes. Like they like to go to Las Vegas because they can blend in. Certain places in California, they can blend in. And I've seen them here in Mississippi at shopping centers. And I knew immediately because I could feel their frequency. And to me, they stood out like a sore thumb, but to other people, they really did not. Why they didn't pick up on the frequency, I don't know. I certainly could. And they knew who I was, and they made a point to try to get near me. And, you know, we were cordial, but we were amongst other humans and stuff. So we didn't exchange like, I know who you are, you know who I am, blah, blah, blah. We didn't do that kind of thing. So.
And is this communication telepathically?
Some of it was, but they were vocally talking to people as well. They were like shopping, interacting, and pushing a buggy. And what was strange is this: it was a male, and there was like at least 5 other people behind me when I was checking out. But he managed to. They all let him come in front of them, and I think he was probably using some telepathic messaging with them, and they were like, sure, go ahead. And then he ended up right behind me. And so when I checked out and went to my car, I sit there waiting for him to come out. I wanted to see what kind of vehicle he would get in. He never came out.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Nancy, is anything hiding in Antarctica?
Most likely. I don't know that for a fact. I do not know everything, and I do not pretend to know everything. I only know about my experiences and things like that. But I think it's highly unusual that it's a no-fly zone. Highly unusual that we've sent expeditions there, and some really amazing stories have come back about things that they found. And from what I think there probably is a Argatha or an underground civilization, stuff like that. And I think there probably is an opening to it there.
Interesting. Yeah.
You know?
Nancy, do you have any spiritual practice, daily spiritual practice?
I meditate to the interdimensionals and positive extraterrestrials every single day. And before I come on a podcast, I ask them to give me clarity, intelligence, help me to be able to speak that's relatable to everyone, and to, give me confidence and speak from the heart, that kind of thing. And I just ask myself, and I ask them to give me more information, open up my subconscious, that I'm ready to know it all. I want to know as much as possible.
Thank you. And for those who want to contact you, they can go to timefordisclosure.com. Do you have any other programs or any other services you offer?
Well, I have the website, then I have my Facebook group, and it's Time for Disclosure / We Have Never Been Alone / We Are the Disclosure, because I truly believe we all are. And I think everybody will realize that we all are once we reach higher consciousness. And I do podcasts, and I get on some other people's podcasts as a panelist, and I really enjoy that. And, my goal is to reach the world. This is not about me. This is not about the United States. This is a worldwide phenomenon, and this is about every human being on this planet.
And do you think that the latest ET disclosures from the government side were done willingly, or someone forced them to do it?
I think they're being forced to do it. And I think that they're also waiting for the James Webb Telescope to find life, because if the James Webb Telescope were to do it, takes a lot of pressure off of them, because if they do it, they're going to have to answer a lot of questions of why it was suppressed for 80 years. And also all the other questions like what happened to so-and-so, because, what happened to JFK, what happened at Roswell, Area 51, there's going to be, it opens a whole can of worms that they're not ready to deal with. But if the James Webb Telescope found something, humanity, I feel, and I think they feel, would be so excited because it would blend well with humanity, because it's life way over there, and it's not like right here in our skies, like we're trying to tell everybody they're here, but it's a lot different, and it's easier and more absorbable for the for many people. So I think they're waiting for something like that to do their job, and then they're just going to try to scoot under the coattail and try to avoid as much confrontation as possible.
Yeah, thank you. Nancy, we're at the end of the interview. Any final thoughts?
Please be positive human beings. Try to look at the beautiful things around you, because our planet is beautiful. We are unique, beautiful human beings. And this is the most precious and most beautiful time to be alive. And we're only here for a short time. Let's start enjoying it, and let's make it better for our future generations.
Nancy, thank you very much for your courage to come forward with all the disclosures. Good luck with staying in contact with your ETs,
yes.
And all the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And to my viewers, thank you for watching. Share it, like it, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and visit www.spiritualinspired.ca. And until next time, love and gratitude.